Okay, so thank you for coming out. Here you are finally making it to Knitting Club, where I hope you brought your baskets. We are going to knit a fantastic sweater today. Just kidding. We're going to do the same thing we do every single day. We're going to go into a fantasy football draft. Yes, it's May. I understand. I know I have a problem. I've already drafted 2 leagues today at the gym. I said I was going to stop drafting leagues at the gym. I was only going to do it on the live stream so I can try to save some of this money for the start of the season, but it is what it is. Y'all know I have that problem, and you have a problem as well. If you have not gone down there and dropped a like on this live stream yet, if you're wanting to hop into draft with us, you know what we're doing? We're going to go over to Best Ball Mania. This is going to be the draft where you have a ridiculous amount of money to first place. Yes, you get paid if you get first in your 12-team league. You get paid if you get second in your 12-team league, yada, yada, yada. But there's a small percentage of every league's pot in this massive tournament that is set for the fantasy football playoffs, where you have $2 million to first, $1 million to second, $500 for third. We're trying to win some serious cash here. This is probably going to be about our 20th draft in this lobby. And crap, this draft is already full. I am sorry if you were unable to get in here. Looks like we just pulled the 109, and I went through and looked at my exposures so far. I am way overweight on taking Stephon Diggs, on taking Jalen Waddle. I don't even like Jalen Waddle. I like the player. I don't like the situation he's in with Tua Tagovailoa, but the reason is I hate Michael Pittman, and we're drafting at the 108. We are drafting at the 109 in every single one of these drafts. It's really weird, but Zach says, I don't think any of the flock members got in. Yeah, it looks like this is probably going to be a draft with no flock members. I apologize. I'll try to get another one going after this just because it's Sunday. Like I said, I'm probably going to be doing this regardless of if it's on the live stream or not. I do have to make a dynasty video, but let's see how good this team is. Let's see how good this team is. We have 2 very experienced drafters next to us. Scrolling through this lobby, I agree with you. I don't think anybody in this draft is actually in this live stream right now. So that's good and bad. I'm sorry if you were unable to make it in, but it is good in that I get to talk about my actual thoughts out loud and don't have anybody snipe me. So yeah, we don't have to be secretive about anything here. So you have a very standard first 4 picks off the board. Shouldn't really expect anything different. And I will send a link out in the live chat right now if somehow you have not signed up for Underdog Fantasy and you want to possibly get into the next draft we're going to do on this live stream. Don't worry if we don't do another one after this, which we probably will. We're going to do a draft tomorrow. We're going to do a draft the next day. We'll probably do a draft the next day. We are going to be drafting pretty much every single day from here on out, getting those live streams going, because there's a reason I started a fantasy football channel. I enjoy nothing more than doing this. But let me give a shout out to everybody out here. We got Zachary, Carter, Caden, Adam, Mindtrix, Dog, Dana, DJ, Kyle, JN, Derek, Be Good to Others. There are a lot of people. I'm sorry if I wasn't able to give you a shout out, but we are about to be closing in on our pick. You have Cup, Jefferson, Chase as the wide receivers off the board here. Najee Harris goes at the 107. I actually got Najee Harris earlier in the draft this morning at the 111, which I was excited about. You know what? Is this going to be our first draft where we take Derrick Henry? Let's see. I'm fine with Henry or Stephon Diggs. I was planning on going Diggs here. Diggs goes at the 108. So I guess we're taking Derrick Henry. I'm not a massive fan of Derrick Henry. If you look at our full PPR rankings, I may actually end up ranking Joe Mixon over Derrick Henry for this upcoming season, but this is going to be half PPR. So the lack of involvement in the receiving game doesn't matter as much for Derrick Henry. And on top of this, if we are trying to build unique teams, getting Derrick Henry at the 109 is not going to be something that other people are able to accomplish very often. So you have to be excited about this, especially in the tournament setting. We know Derrick Henry can go out there and have over 200 rushing yards, can have 3 rushing touchdowns in a single week. So after we take Derrick Henry, I think we can say this out loud. I don't really think there are too many other people in this draft with us. We are probably looking to hammer in receiver from here on out. Hopefully CeeDee Lamb falls to us. CeeDee Lamb probably is not going to. And if he doesn't, I'm fine with Mark Andrews. Give me either or. Let's go Lamb or Mark Andrews. Debo goes at the 112, so that does bump up the chances. Oh my God, maybe we're going back-to-back RB. I am worried about this, and I know people are going to say I'm crazy. People are going to say I'm crazy for wanting CeeDee Lamb to make it to us instead of Dalvin Cook, instead of Joe Mixon. But I am telling you right now that these drafters, I can already, CeeDee Lamb goes to the 202. We're taking Dalvin or Mixon, especially if we're talking about having a unique build. There are going to be very, very few people in this entire draft tournament that are able to have the combination of Dalvin Cook and Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry has an ADP of 6. Dalvin Cook has an ADP of 10. So we're going to go ahead and take Dalvin, but I am not jumping up and down with it. I will say we have the best value through the first 2 rounds. Nobody has a better start than us with Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook. But I just have a feeling right now, it's not a good one, that you are going to see wide receivers fly off the board. Now, hopefully a couple of these other teams that went running back in the first, they help us out by doubling up on the running back position. Yeah, you got Javonte Williams going at the 206. That's great for us. We want to see this draft room lean a little more running back heavy so we can fight back with these wide receiver heavy drafters, which I have a feeling when you see someone go Deebo Samuel, Mike Evans here at the turn and pass on both Mixon and Dalvin Cook, when you see these experienced drafters as well go Kelsey, Lamb instead of grabbing one of these running backs, you got T. Higgins going at the 208. I have a sneaky suspicion that this is going to be a very weird draft where it's receiver. And I will tell you this right now. If you are drafting on Underdog Fantasy and you punt the wide receiver position, it's going to be very hard to catch up. Now, like I said, we're only 21 picks into this, so maybe it doesn't go the way I'm expecting. Hopefully, I am wrong. I think we can say we probably have one of the best starts to any underdog draft in history with the combination of Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook. And real quick, if you have not done so already, and I know every single person in this live chat has, but maybe someone watching this as a video later on hasn't, if you have not signed up for Underdog Fantasy, fix your life. Have some fun. Are you the Grinch? What is going on? Have some fun in your life. Go sign up to Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK when you sign up, and they will match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. You will get our 2022 rankings. You will get my Dynasty Rookie Draft Guide. And on top of this, you will support the channel. You can find the link in the description. You can find it in the chat. Have some fun in your life. Get in a draft with us on the live stream. Get in a draft in the public lobby with your friends. Whatever you want to do. It's all fun. And here we go. We got some running backs going off at the end of the second. We have Swift, Kamara, Aaron Jones, and Nick Chubb. Oh, boys. This is going to be a good draft. This is going to be a great draft. Are y'all not excited about this start with Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook? Let me know what y'all are thinking. This is a real money draft. Like I said, $2 million to first place. Of course, your odds of first place are probably smaller than Lloyd Christmas's odds of getting with Mary Swanson. Like, they are so incredibly small. It's a $25 buy-in, and there's $2 million to first. But still, if you are going to have a shot, you have to get lucky. You have to have Derrick Henry falling to you with the 9th pick, and you have to have Dalvin Cook falling to you with the 16th. And also, if you have not done so already, please go down there, drop a like on the live stream. It helps us out a ton. Ethan says, is each draft $25? No, Underdog has $5 tournaments. Now, those aren't going to be open, I believe, for another couple of weeks. And on top of it, you could just go get in a regular 12-team, 10-team private league, and you could have the buy-in 5, 10, whatever you want. I'm excited closer to the season. We'll be able to hop in some $250 drafts, but that's not going to be open now. And even if it was, I don't know if I'd be jumping in right this second. I probably would rather wait a little bit and have a better idea of what the overall landscape is going to be. Okay, so let's pull up what we are going to be looking at here. And Connor goes, we are in a great spot. We are in a fantastic situation. And like I said, Jalen Waddle is one of my most drafted players on Underdog. I don't necessarily think it's because I love Jalen Waddle. Like, he's a great player. I think the situation is horrible in Miami where you have the competition of targets with Tyreek Hill, but more importantly, you have, in my opinion, some pretty bad quarterback play with Tua Tagovailoa. But the reason I end up consistently going with Jalen Waddle here is because I can't imagine taking Michael Pittman in this range. And we're going out on a limb here. We're going crazy, okay? This is going to be probably the most exciting draft we've done so far. This is the first time I've taken Derrick Henry in one of these drafts. I believe this is also the first time I've taken Kyle Pitts. But to get Kyle Pitts making it to us to the 309, when we had Henry falling and when we got Dalvin Cook, If you look at the combination of teams that were able to go through and pair together Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, and Kyle Pitts in this format, an extremely, extremely low number of teams are going to have that unique combination of players. And that's going to make this team have an immense amount of upside when we get to that tournament setting. And I know I was the person laughing at people when they were taking Kyle Pitts at the end of the third round last year, when they were taking Kyle Pitts in the fourth round last year. I was coming out saying it was the worst pick in fantasy football to take a rookie tight end, while yes, he was the best tight end prospect of all time, that highly. And now I know you're going to have asked me, hey, Mason, you clown. You were saying that last year when he had Matt Ryan as his quarterback. What's the difference this year when he has Marcus Mariota? Well, he came out and he put up, if you look at his targets per game, his yards per game, he put up arguably the best tight end season of all time. And you have no Calvin Ridley. And you have no... While Kyle Pitts in the third round last year, even with better quarterback play, was a very, very bad pick. I think to get him this season, when we know that tight ends are going to be more productive year 2, they're going to be more productive year 3 than they were their rookie year. I'm completely fine with this. He scored 0 touchdowns, if I'm remembering correctly, last season. That is going to probably go back. I want to say give him a 5 to 6, even 7% touchdown rate because he's an elite level tight end. Oh my God. Okay. I don't think he's good. I don't like him. Peerless Beard says Pittman might make it back. And boy, he did. I am not a big Michael Pittman fan, but going back to what we were speaking on previously, when Kyle Pitts and Michael Pittman are going back to back in the third round in the majority of these drafts, and none of them are really falling to the turn, and Michael Pittman's going almost exclusively in the third round, to start our draft off with these 4 players, while I probably prefer Deontay Johnson in a vacuum, I probably prefer DJ Moore in a vacuum. There are going to be a lot of leagues where Deontay Johnson, DJ Moore fall back to the Kyle Pitts team, whereas there are going to be almost no teams that have the combination of Kyle Pitts and Michael Pittman. So for us, we needed a wide receiver. We can't acknowledge the fact that Michael Pittman's going to go ahead of Deontay Johnson, DK Metcalf, DJ Moore in almost every single draft, and we plan on doing about 200 of these. So might as well take Michael Pittman here and say, yeah, I'll draft him when he falls to the middle of the 4th, which will be almost never. And when he's going in the 3rd round, I'm never drafting him. I'm taking Mike Williams. I'm taking Jalen Waddle instead every single time. So here... Yes, I'm a little bit lower on Derrick Henry than consensus. Yes, I'm lower on Michael Pittman than consensus. Dalvin Cook and Kyle Pitts, I'm fine with where they're being drafted. But sometimes, especially if we're drafting 150 of these teams for this tournament, you're going to have to make some picks with some players you don't necessarily believe in. And this is going to be the case. Michael Pittman at the 404. Oh my gosh. Okay, George Kittle goes at the 409. And coming out says, make sure to take KJ Hamler. We'll see what our quarterback situation looks like a little bit later on. It will be interesting because when we take Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook, we are locking ourselves into only drafting 5 running backs. When we take Kyle Pitts, we're most likely only going to be drafting 2 tight ends, and that's going to open up the possibility for us to take 3 quarterbacks. So instead of going out of our way and reaching on one of those elite level quarterbacks to complete a stack, well, our stack options right now, Marcus Mariota, Matt Ryan, like we're probably not going to be going through and trying to just grab one of those with a pair like Lamar Jackson, unless he falls a decent ways. So we're probably going to end up going 3 quarterback here. So it will be something that we need to keep in mind. Okay. DeAndre says, this is being recorded. You are on camera saying Pittman over DK Metcalf. My man. I don't like either wide receiver, really. But if you're looking at ADP right now, we're getting DK Metcalf in the middle of the 4th round in a ton of drafts. Like I've drafted DK Metcalf multiple times this season in the middle of the 4th. Michael Pittman is almost exclusively going in the 3rd round. So if we are trying to create a balanced portfolio and not necessarily go all in, remember, before the injury, I had over 20% Travis Etienne in these drafts. I had over 20% Cam Akers in these drafts last year. And we got decimated. You have to cap your exposures on some players, and you have to acknowledge when the market dictates that Michael Pittman's probably being overdrafted, in my opinion, yet you get the opportunity to take him at a much more reasonable point. we probably have to go ahead and take him when he falls to the middle of the fourth. Okay. So I will point out, yes, Breece Hall went at the 308. I see Zach out here acknowledging that you're getting Breece Hall. At least I got Breece Hall at the end of the fifth earlier this morning. I will point that out. Okay, so we have a massive wide receiver run happening right now. When we go with 3 non-wide receivers to start this draft off, you know we are really hoping that some of these guys make it to us. But one of the reasons that I have found myself drafting Jalen Waddle a ton in the third, why I found myself going out of our way and taking a ton of Stephon Diggs in the first whenever we're at the end of the 5th round, is because usually in this range, I'm not excited about taking Juju Smith-Schuster. I'm not excited about taking Gabriel Davis. Neither am I with Michael Thomas, Rashad Bateman. Usually in this range, I would prefer these running backs. Now, of course, when we are kind of behind the 8 ball here at the wide receiver position in this unique format, it does put us in a very difficult position where can we continue to draft RB even if we perceive them to be the best value on the board? Now, Gabriel Davis, one of the most efficient wide receivers last season on a per snap basis. I do have my concerns if you're looking at the fact that he was not able to beat out Emmanuel Sanders. He was not able to beat out Cole Beasley, both inefficient wide receivers last year. I think in a vacuum, I do prefer Travis Etienne. We're going to go Travis Etienne. And by taking Etienne here, dependent on the rest of the draft, we do open up the possibility for us to potentially only draft 4 running backs. We're opening up the possibility for us to only go through and draft 4 running backs. We have Michael Thomas going directly after us. Please let me know what you think of this selection of Travis Etienne at the 509. I think every pick we made up until this point has been almost a no-brainer. But here's where I think you can make an argument to go a couple different ways. If we were talking about just going through and making sure we have the optimal roster construction, we probably want to be taking a receiver, but it's a lot easier said than done. Zach says he loves the Travis Etienne pick. Thank you, my man, for the, oh my God. This is what I was worried about. We got wide receivers going. You have Gabriel Davis, Brandon Cooks, Darnell Mooney. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Going back to what we were saying at the beginning of the video. It is Treylon Burks at the 602. We are going to be in a situation we don't like. No soup for you. He has Mixon, Zeke, Adams, Michael Thomas. He goes Hopkins at the 603. I do prefer Antonio Gibson. I probably also prefer Josh Jacobs over Rashad Bateman in a vacuum. But the possibility for us to just completely ruin this draft, which I feel like this draft has been just handed down from the gods. I feel like the gods came down and said, you know what, Mason? We've seen you grinding. We've seen you drafting on the live streams every single day. Here, this one's for you. You're going to get Derrick Henry at pick 9. You're going to get Dalvin Cook at pick 19. You're going to get Kyle Pitts, pick 33. You're going to get Michael Pittman, 6 picks behind his ADP as well. Just don't mess it up. We've already done everything for you. At this point of the draft, it is not my job to go out there and to perfect it. No. At this point, it's hell. We are already ahead of the rest of the field. What we need to do is we need to not mess it up. We need to just keep our head down, do our job, take the wide receivers here. So we are going to go Bateman over Josh Jacobs. We're going to go Bateman over Antonio Gibson. It's interesting. It's interesting. Raul says, reach for Drake London. I like the call because we did take Kyle Pitts as well. And yes, we could go out there and take Marcus Mariota in the last round. Not many people are drafting Marcus Mariota. At the same time, we could go through and we could end up getting some rushing upside plus the double stack. Maybe we should have. I like the call. Thank you. And Burnell says, are you worried about James Robinson taking away snaps from Travis Etienne, or will he be the clear number 1 running back? With Travis Etienne, he is exactly what we were saying DeAndre Swift was last year. DeAndre Swift, we were not worried about the carries per game because if you were looking at DeAndre Swift, they're the new age Alvin Kamara, they're the new age Aaron Jones. Everybody's tired of hearing me say this by now, but they're running backs that will not be seeing every snap in their backfield. They will not be seeing every touch in their backfield, but they will be seeing every target and a significant amount of work in the red zone, aka all the valuable touches in that backfield. And on top of this, with James Robinson tears his Achilles at the very end of the season, I am somewhat confident in Cam Akers' ability to come back and really just, I don't want to say be 100%, as he was before the injury, but at least be serviceable in fantasy football because he tore that before the season. And while he was horribly inefficient during the Rams playoff stretch, we can say, hell, he rushed that injury back. Well, if you look at his timetable, by the time next season starts, he'll have a 13-month recovery, whereas James Robinson's going to be a lot closer to 6 to 7 months. So I'm not comfortable saying that James Robinson's really going to be much at all this upcoming season. My main concern would be the passing efficiency of the overall offense is piss poor, even though we can blame a lot on Urban Meyer. Still, y'all know when those rookie quarterbacks fail, I'm not as willing as everybody else to go, oh, okay, yeah, Zach Wilson's great. Trevor Lawrence is great. Justin Fields is great. Ignore what just happened. Let's all blame it on the coaching staff. Let's blame it on the situation. I am a lot more pessimistic, but ETN at the 509, we're fine with. It's going to come down to the running backs that make it to us at the 7-8 turn on if that pick was worth it or not. Possibly we should have ended up going with Gabriel Davis as our wide receiver too. It really does depend on the running backs that are going to be available in the 7th and 8th. And like I said, there is that outside chance, depending on the value, that we end up taking another running back here. We cap ourselves at 4 and we end up drafting 10 wide receivers on this team. And we just try to attack the position with quantity over quality since it's a best ball format. Okay, so Devonta Smith, we're not getting Smith. We are 5 picks away. He has an ADP of 74. We are going to be on the clock at 81. We are really not wanting to take a tight end. I have literally 3 drafts today. 3 drafts I have been in the same exact range, and this is the grossest spot in the draft. If you're looking at some of these wide receivers, you have Sky Moore, you have Hunter Renfrow, you have Tyler Lockett. Can't really be excited about. And that's why I prefer going with those wide receivers early, because I'm fine taking the value on running backs like Kenneth Walker. We've taken Kenneth Walker in a decent amount of drafts today. It's hard for me to take Russell Wilson here as well when we don't have Jerry Jeudy, when we don't have Cortland Sutton. Yes, we can get Tim Patrick. We can get Albert O. We can get KJ Hamler a little bit later on. Ooh, okay. I think we're probably going to end up Dalton Schultz at the 707. Hawkinson and Schultz being off the board is great. We have Kyle Pitts. We're not wanting to take another tight end here. Okay. This is where I begin to sweat. I hate this turn. I truly do. But yeah, Hunter Renfrow goes. Now, if you look at these teams behind us, Spark Solomon has 6 wide receivers, 0 positions elsewhere. If he were to continue to draft receivers, he will legitimately ruin his team. Now, that's not to say he's not going to. He can easily continue to draft wide receiver at this point. I'd imagine he goes back-to-back running back, but it doesn't really matter when we're so far away. We're going to have to go through and we're going to have to take Tyler Lockett. Now, with Lockett, yes, horrible quarterback play, very bad situation. But it's a best ball format. We have seen historically that Tyler Lockett does have access to those spike weeks. I know a lot of people want to say, oh, well, Mason, the loss of Russell Wilson really is only going to affect Tyler Lockett. DK Metcalf, I mean, he didn't have the same chemistry as Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett, all his success is due to Russell Wilson. I think that narrative, honestly, is really weak. I think that narrative doesn't have much behind it. Metcalf's going in the 4th. Lockett's going in the 7th. If you're looking at targets last season, they were right there neck and neck. Not saying that Lockett should be drafted ahead of Metcalf, but let's take Lockett here with the best ball format, and let's hope that they get a Jimmy Garoppolo. I actually got Garrett Wilson at the end of the 9th round earlier this morning. Okay, sorry to cut y'all off, but there are a couple interesting things we could do. We could go rookie here, Chris Olave. And I know we're reaching, but we got value early on the draft. I think that reaching is not a big deal here. We already have a unique combination of this team. Or what I'm actually going to do instead, based on the addition of Jarvis Landry, we'll use it as a tiebreaker. We are going to take Christian Kirk here, the wide receiver 1 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. We have another key pass catcher in this offense in Travis Etienne. So we are going to potentially set ourselves up to get this double stack with Trevor Lawrence a little bit later on. Of course, you're not that worried about going through and pairing your quarterbacks and your running backs from that same NFL offense, but it is going to matter here a little bit if we are going to be talking about a pass catching running back, a pure pass catcher like Travis Etienne. Let me know what y'all think of that selection. We needed to go wide receiver. Yes, we reached on Lockett. Yes, we reached on Christian Kirk compared to the running backs in that range. But when we have Dalvin, when we have Henry, when we have Travis Etienne, and we got them at value, I'm not necessarily too worried about it, especially if we look at how the overall draft room is approaching the wide receiver position. I think our hand's a little bit forced there. I think our hand is a little bit forced. And of course, if y'all want to get in our next draft, please go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. You can find the link in the live chat. You can find it in the description, find it in the comment section. Go sign up, use promo code FLOCK, and they will match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to 100. And we have almost 300 people watching this live stream right now. If this live stream gets to 200 likes, which should be very easy, like we need 90 more. This live stream gets to 200 likes. We'll get another draft going after this one. Because I know that not many people a part of the flock were able to get into this one. Slim74 says, what's up, Mason? Hope you send your loved ones. I hope you and your loved ones are better. Thank you, my man. Are well, brother. I can't speak. I'm just excited about the draft. Thank you. I hope you are doing great this Sunday. Have a relaxing Sunday with your family as well. Okay. So DeAndre says he's ready to join the next draft. Okay, so get this live stream up to 200 likes, and we'll get another draft going after this one. Okay, so Clyde Edwards-Helaire goes at the 8-12. Elijah Mitchell at the 7-01. We only have 3 running backs, but honestly, I like seeing the running backs go off the board because I do think that we are going to be able to find running back value a little bit later in this draft room, even if right now we don't necessarily have our complete roster. Like if you just look at the nature of this draft, right now, you're probably going to get a slight running back run happening. But here, Alidwell, for example, actually, no, I'm sorry. Who was, okay, BCC, for example, has 0 running backs. He has Kyler, Jalen Hurts at quarterback, Dallas Goedert at tight end. He has the double stack of Philadelphia Eagles. He has Dallas Goedert and Devontae Smith. I like the fact that he got Devontae Smith behind his ADP when he had already taken Jalen Hurts. Okay, let's see what happens. I guess if we get a Hunt falling to us, we can go with them. But there are still a couple other wide receivers I like. Okay, so Trey Lance off the board, not necessarily too interested in any of the quarterbacks in this range. Like I said, whenever we take the running backs of this caliber and we have an elite level tight end as well, I think we're going to be able to get away with only drafting 5 running backs, 2 tight ends, and we're going to be able to draft 3 quarterbacks because of so. Okay, so Zach Ertz at the 906. Tony Pollard falls 14 picks. We're taking Tony Pollard. If you look at Pollard, his carries per game, his targets per game, they've gone up through the first 3 seasons every single year. Now, I lied to you. Marquez Valdes-Scantling off the board now. With MVS off the board, I don't really think that we have the option to go with Pollard because if we look at the teams between us, if we're looking at Tony Pollard, Kareem Hunt, Devin Singletary, James Cook, I think they are all in a similar range, and we are going to have that massive drop-off at the wide receiver position. So we are going to have to go Robert Woods. One of the reasons I like going Robert Woods here over Allen Lazard is A, I think Robert Woods is a better player, and B, we do not have any quarterbacks yet. We have Derrick Henry on this team, so we are setting ourselves up with the potential to be able to go with Ryan Tannehill. We get Tannehill very late. Tannehill goes around pick 170, and we can get the stack there, and we can have a triple stack. We can go, say, Ryan Tannehill. We can also get Trevor Lawrence, and then maybe Matt Ryan as well. So none of those quarterbacks are that exciting on their own, but if we're able to get all 3 at value and we have an elite level tight end, the best running back core in the league, and we have a ton of mid wide receiver 2, mid wide receiver 3s, I think we can be excited. Okay. Jayan says, if Robinson is ready by training camp, Doug Peterson said he may be back by summer camp. How do you value him? I'm assuming you're saying James Robinson. I don't think it's going to happen. Like I know coaches say stuff, but like the Seattle Seahawks said they weren't trading Russell Wilson at the beginning of the year. I'm not really listening to what the coaches say. Okay, so Chase Edmonds goes at the end of the 10th. So there are still 2 running backs available to us on the board. If not, I'm fine. If 2 running backs go here in Kareem Hunt and Devin Singletary, I am fine. Bye-bye. Y'all can have them. I'll take Claypool. We're fine with any of those 3 players. We're not taking Derek Carr here. We would take Carr if we had Devontae Adams. We would take Carr if we had someone like Darren Waller, but we don't. So, yeah. Go through, take Hunt, Singletary, Claypool. Well, we'll just take whoever's left over. Hardman goes to the 10:03. I love me some Hunt. I love me some Kareem Hunt. The question is, if we go Kareem Hunt here, are we done at the running back position? That's going to be something I have to sit on. That's going to be something I have to think about. It's going to be, we are way underweight on quarterback and wide receiver. I think we almost have to take Hunt. He falls to pick 112. His ADP is 98. Hunt, what you like about him is he has the elite ceiling if Nick Chubb were to go down. And more importantly, if we were to stop at only taking 4 running backs in this league, Hunt is going to have a high enough floor every single week where he can get into our starting lineup. That is going to be incredibly important in this format. So we'll go Hunt at the 10:04. Let me know what y'all are thinking. Let me know what you are thinking. You have Tua Tagovailoa at the 10:07. We like to see Tua go off there. I actually ended up getting Tua. Like some of these quarterbacks later on, if you just wait, understanding that a lot of these teams that go Dak Prescott and Aaron Rodgers, that go Kyler Murray and Jalen Hurts, that go through and grab Deshaun Watson and Josh Allen, they can only draft 2 quarterbacks. Like once you take 2 and you're taking them inside the top 10 rounds, you are done at the quarterback position. Whereas if you wait, you're going to see that, yeah, you could panic. You can reach on guys like Matt Ryan. But in reality, a lot of times these guys are just plummeting because if someone were to go through and say, take Deshaun Watson as well as Josh Allen and then go with a third guy, you have no shot. You have no path to upside with how thin you are going to be at a receiver and running back. Okay. Kirk Cousins at the 10:09, Rondale Moore at the 10:10, Gronk at the 10:11. Zach says they used a first-round pick on Travis Etienne. James Robinson is an undrafted free agent. Etienne will be the bell cow. Yeah, I do like the argument that you have for the team investment into both running backs. The issue with that is I don't think Travis Etienne will ever be a bell cow. Like, legitimately. I think that whoever he shares the backfield with will have a role. And I don't want Travis Etienne to turn into Ezekiel Elliott. I don't think Travis Etienne can be an Ezekiel Elliott type player. Okay, so Steven coming out says, with my 140 drafts done, I've shut myself down drafting until August unless Puppies or Big Dog starts them. This was ridiculous. I wish it was easier on this streaming setup for me to go through and just share my page easily. But Steven tweeted out to me earlier today. I'm sure y'all saw me reply to it on Twitter. Let me pull up this screenshot. I'm not going to be able to show it on the live stream. I wish that our streaming option last year we could have, but this year's a little bit different. Okay. Let me see how many drafts Steven has done on Underdog Fantasy. Y'all, I think I have a problem. At least I thought I had a problem. Steven, this offseason alone, has done 105 drafts of rookies and sophomores. He's done 131 Superflex drafts, and he has done 140 of these drafts that we are currently in. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? My man, the second that they opened Best Ball Mania, you must have just been in 10 drafts at a time. That is crazy. That is crazy. Okay, so we have a bunch of running backs going off the board. That definitely helps us. We do not want to see another running back fall to us here. Okay, so at the top of the board, we actually can end up going a tight end. I would almost want to grab one of these tight ends in this tier to feel comfortable about not having to go through and take a third. Goose has Schultz. You can easily see him going with the tight end. And this team has Mark Andrews. I think anybody can go with the tight end. I think almost anybody's in play here. Devontae Parker goes at pick 127. Ronald Jones at the 11:08. We're going to go Pat Freiermuth. I thought Pat Freiermuth was actually being overdrafted earlier this offseason, but I mean, you've seen Pat Freiermuth's ADP consistently fall. Yeah, we could roll the dice that we end up getting an Irv Smith Jr., that we end up getting Cole Kmet in a couple of rounds, or we can just take a tight end that we'll feel comfortable about only having to draft 2. So we have Kyle Pitts and Pat Freiermuth, both second-year players at the position. And now we are going to need to go through and load up on receiver, and we still need 3 quarterbacks. We need 3 quarterbacks and possibly 1 more RB. And reminder, if we get to 200 likes in this live stream, which this live stream's already had over 1,000 views, so we're not asking for much. If we get to 200 likes in this live stream, we'll get another draft going after this one. Okay, so Tim Patrick goes at the 11:01. Tommy says, Mason, long time no talk. 2 questions for you. First, what time are you going to be drafting tomorrow? Going to try to get in. And 2, what's your favorite spot to draft in redraft formats? I really like where we are actually drafting. I don't know if I maybe am just getting my eyes glazed over. Maybe I'm just used to drafting here at the 108, 109 every single draft. Where it gets awkward is where we were speaking on previously, where we ended up going with like the Tyler Lockett and Christian Kirk. That range is very weird. But outside of, I kind of like the first because you can go through and you can get one of those elite wide receivers like Stephon Diggs and then an elite level tight end like Mark Andrews as well. Okay, so I think we go Kenny Golladay. I mean, Golladay is getting paid a ridiculous amount of money. You kind of have to hope that this coaching staff's able to go through and not turn Daniel Jones into Josh Allen. Of course, they're not going to be able to do that, but maybe they can just make Daniel Jones a better quarterback overall, and you could get very excited about the upside of the New York Giants offense if Daniel Jones goes from being a bottom 5 quarterback in the NFL to being a league average quarterback. And Kenny Golladay, we've seen him before post a wide receiver 1 season. Last year, I thought he was being horribly overvalued. Here, I'm completely fine with it. And let's kind of just see where quarterback value falls. We are the last team in this draft without a quarterback. Now, one thing that I want to point out is this team at the very end, and this is what you honestly have to hope for. I know I sound like an ass when I say this, but keep in mind, Underdog, how they make money is they take a 10% rake, which is honestly very low. Like if you look at other sports books, like if Underdog isn't a sports book per se, but if you look at other competitors, like a 10% rake is very, very low if y'all are unfamiliar. So you want someone paying that rake, and a team that paid this rake was Ryan McCombs, and they just went through and they have been on auto draft this entire time. So you have to take note of this and how many wide receivers they have. Jerry Jeudy, and that is it. And that is it. They have soaked up so many running backs, which has helped us out. I will be the first person to admit that. But more importantly, they essentially just took their $25 and they went, yeah, we got a 10% rake to Underdog. I'll pay that $25 to Underdog because I have no shot to win, and it allows us to all go through and profit. Okay. So Robert Tonyan goes at the 1209. Good for us. We need to see these tight ends go off the board. Once we have 2 tight ends in this draft, once we have Kyle Pitts, once we have Robert Tonyan, we are going to be begging for more people to take some. And let's see where Ryan is going to be going. I'm assuming Ryan ends up coming away with 2 wide receivers here. He's just going to end up auto drafting. Hopefully nobody takes Albert O and he ends up getting Albert O. We don't want him taking Lawrence. He has 3 quarterbacks. I don't even know if Underdog would auto draft him another QB. I don't think they can. Yeah, because even if someone were to go through and draft Albert O, he's getting Jarvis Landry, Jahan Dotson. Okay. So we're in a good spot. There's still that outside chance Trevor Lawrence falls to us. If he doesn't, we set ourselves up with the potential stacks later on. So, oh no, he's not auto drafting. He's back in. He takes Jarvis. Oh dear God. Can you imagine you auto draft Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, Leonard Fournette, Elijah Mitchell, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Cordell Patterson, Melvin Gordon? You come back into the draft and you have 1 wide receiver? Oh, I wouldn't even bother going through and drafting a couple players after that. I would just kind of throw in the towel there. Okay, so let me show off this draft board for anybody just now coming in here. Of course, if you are just now coming into the live stream, thank you for being a part of the flock, supporting the channel. Go sign up for Underdog Fantasy with the link to get in our next draft. Use promo code FLOCK for a 100% deposit match. And on top of that, our 2022 rankings, our 2022 Dynasty Rookie Draft Guide. Drop a like on the live stream. Helps us out a ton. We are about to be up, and y'all know what we're hoping for. You know what we're hoping for. I think there's a decent chance it happens. JN says, pick 2 quarterbacks in Dynasty: Wilson, Hurts, Lance, and Stafford. Okay, so I think we're definitely going to go Lance here. You know, I love me some Trey Lance. And then I think it is up to you, honestly, with the Russell Wilson or Matthew Stafford side. Okay. Yeah, I think we got him. Boys, we got him. Unless Stute wants to come out and snipe us. But he does not have a single Jacksonville Jaguar. Come on. Give us our guy. There we go. There we go. This is why we're waiting on these quarterbacks. This is why we're just going to go ahead and draft 3. Because if you understand that a lot of these other teams simply can't take them when they already draft 2 early, we're going to be able to get Trevor Lawrence at pick 153. We're going to be able to stack him with Christian Kirk. We're going to be able to stack him with Travis Etienne. Not a massive fan of Trevor Lawrence, a massive fan of this value though. And we are going to be able to go through and draft 3 quarterbacks because we waited long enough. Hopefully, we have a couple teams taking tight ends here. No soup for you as Darren Waller, Irv Smith. Maybe they're done. This team has only Travis Kelce. This team here has only Mike Gesicki. So I think we could see all 3 of these tight ends off the board by the time we are up with our next pick, which is great for us. Jalen Tolbert goes. Albert O goes. Okay, so the first tight end, Hunter Henry. There we go. The second tight end. Oh my gosh. This is good. This is great. Jerry says, should we consider Buffalo weather when selecting? That is something that I know a lot of people have brought up because obviously so much of the money is in that fantasy football playoff tournament, and you're really wanting to give yourself the best odds to just put up massive weeks in weeks 15, 16, and 17. If you want to have, like right now, you have a 0.0001% chance to win that $2 million. What we're trying to do is turn that into a 0.0002% chance to win that. So you do want to try to maximize your ceiling. And I know some people have been talking about accounting for the weather there. But yeah, we have an easy pick. This was what our plan was all along. We are going to go Matt Ryan here as well, the stack with Michael Pittman as our quarterback 2. We are getting him slightly behind his ADP. We're not having to reach for this stack, which is exactly what we are looking for. And we're going to be able to get a third quarterback if we choose. We're probably going to end up coming away with Robert Woods. I'm sorry, not Robert Woods. We're going to come away with Ryan Tannehill to complete that Robert Woods and Derrick Henry double stack. Okay. So Kenneth Gainwell, Noah Fant, good thing we get a tight end off the board. We are about to close in on 200 likes. So I'm assuming we are going to get to 200 likes by the time we get to round 17. So we'll get another draft going after this. It's going to be another Best Ball Mania draft. It will be our 4th draft of the day. We've only done one on the live stream so far, but like I said, I have problems. Okay. I have a problem. I will be the first one to admit it. Okay. Now Raheem Mostert goes to the 1407. I honestly think if we just go through and recap, like, let me recap. I don't think too many people are really wondering, oh, who's going to go here, Will Fuller or wide receiver X. This draft could not have gone better for us because what were we worried about when we went Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, and Kyle Pitts through the first 3 rounds? We were worried about getting boxed out of the wide receiver position, having no chance to be able to catch up with the rest of the draft. However, what ended up happening is you ended up getting this team at the 101 auto drafting. So if that team didn't auto and instead we were in a situation where they went AJ Brown, Keenan Allen, and we just had a cascading effect of more running backs being available, so those running backs sliding down further, we could have taken Pittman here, taken ETN, and then been instead in a very ugly spot the rest of the draft where Lockett, where Christian Kirk weren't even available to us in the 7th and 8th rounds, and we kind of were forced to go Kenneth Walker with and James Cook. And the same thing once you get to the middle rounds here. Elijah Mitchell, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Cordell Patterson, Melvin Gordon, all getting autoed to this team. So the rest of the draft room wasn't really able. They didn't have the capability, even though a lot of them probably wanted to. They couldn't just slam wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, because this team hoarded so much of the running back room that wouldn't happen in a normal draft. But you will get a lot of teams auto drafting in these. It's almost coming down to luck if you're going to be able to pull that off and have one of those teams. Like if we were a team that went Stephon Diggs and then Deebo Samuel in the first 2 rounds, I probably would be upset. But no, we got lucky here. We got Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook. Chimichanga says, are you doing another one? Looks like we just passed 200 likes. So yes, we're going to be doing another one of these drafts. Thank you, my man, of course, for coming out. We got Chimichanga. We got Spack. We have War Rocket. We have a lot of the regulars out in this live stream. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Okay, Daniel Jones, Jared Goff. Daniel Jones could have also been another quarterback we could have selected here at the end of the 15th round because we do have Kenny Golladay and Daniel Jones does have some rushing upside. Now, if we're going to be looking at the players we're probably interested in, Goose, does he have? I think this team at the end, Spark Solomon, if I'm remembering correctly, no, he didn't go with Burks. I thought someone here went with Burks. Okay, so it was Kronz Rito went with Treylon Burks. He already has 2 quarterbacks, but I still think we have to worry about a couple of these teams going QB since you only have 2, 2, 1. So we are going to go ahead and just lock in Ryan Tannehill right now to get our 3rd quarterback on this team. Keep in mind, we're not doing this in a regular 12-team league, but since this is best ball, you kind of have to take that into consideration. We definitely have to take that into consideration. So we are going to have a quarterback core of Trevor Lawrence, Matt Ryan, and Ryan Tannehill. We're just going all AFC South. We're going, you know what? AFC South, we are going to be in shootouts this year. So probably not a likely thing to happen, but hell, if it does happen, good luck beating us. So now we have 3 quarterbacks. We are done drafting QB. We're really hoping one of these other teams takes someone like Jameis Winston. And you know what we have to hope for? We're hoping we get Marvin Jones making it to us in the 16th round with our combination of Christian Kirk and Trevor Lawrence. We would be getting him at a value. Some could make the argument we possibly should have gone with Marvin Jones in the last round. We're probably going to look that way if both of these teams pass on the quarterback position. I just personally did not expect that to happen. No soup for you goes Julio Jones. So we are getting a Marvin Jones coming in. Marvin Jones, an old man, snuck out of the retirement home, fell to the 16th round. Perfect best ball option. Perfect best ball option. Spax says, Burks looks like he was running with concrete blocks on his feet at training camp. I'm not joking. I literally could not care less. Like, I could not care less about training camp videos, about beat reporters coming out. It's May. People are dying for news. People are going to dramatically overreact. If a coaching staff comes out, like in a coaching staff tells us, hell, you know what? Sky Moore, he doesn't look like he's ready. Like, if not Andy Reid, if the new head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, they come out and they go, you know what? Sky Moore doesn't look like he's ready. We are going to have to probably bump up the usage of Juju Smith-Schuster and Marquez Valdez-Scantling and really wait on Sky Moore to develop. Like, if a coach were to say that, then yes, we take note. But if a beat reporter comes out on his phone and he goes, hey guys, LOL, guess what I just saw? LOL. Oh my God, Treylon Burks not looking good out here. No, you don't listen to that man for a goddamn second. You do not listen to him for a second. Okay. So Wan'Dale Robinson goes at the 1609. Like, if a coaching staff goes out and speaks negatively on a player, then I'm all ears. If a coaching staff goes and says, oh yeah, Tajay Sharp, he looks like he's the next coming. Like, we've heard those reports before. We've heard coach speak, go through and hype up players, and it mean absolutely nothing. But when a coach comes out and speaks poorly on a player, then I'm willing to listen. If it's a beat reporter, I don't care at all. I legitimately could not care less. Spack says, yeah, Chase is the perfect example. In quotes, Chase can't catch NFL balls, then becomes the best rookie of all time. I agree with you, man. I agree. I think that is a perfect example. Okay, so Curtis Samuel here, and this seems Ryan is just trying to catch up. Like, he has if I were him, I would have just hopped into another draft. Like, you go 7 running backs in like the first 9 rounds, you have no shot of catching up with the rest of the league. Okay. So we are just going to have to really hope that we get some wide receiver value falling to us. Now, our wide receiver core, undoubtedly weak. Our wide receiver core, Michael Pittman, Rashad Bateman, Tyler Lockett, Christian Kirk, Kenny Golladay, Marvin Jones. Quarterback, we have Lawrence, Matt Ryan, Ryan Tannehill. But the bread and butter of this team is going to be running back and tight end. We have Derrick Henry, we have Dalvin Cook, we have Travis Etienne, Kareem Hunt, Kyle Pitts, and Pat Freiermuth. I'm very proud of this team. I think this is a team that does have a lot of upside. Now, I am uncertain if we are supposed to go 1 more running back and 1 more receiver, or if we're supposed to just go ahead and take 2 receivers here. I'm probably going to stop it. You know what? Our advance rate, like our odds of winning this 12-team league, would be dramatically higher if we were to go through and if we were to take 1 running back and 1 receiver. But when we get to that overall tournament at the very end, we are probably going to need to make sure that we have another option at a spike. We're probably going to need to make sure that we have 2 extra wide receivers on this. So I hate it, but we may end up going 2 receivers. Let's see who falls to us. Let's see who falls. What I also like, and y'all know I very rarely draft for bye weeks, but you got to make sure that if you're drafting 2 tight ends or 2 quarterbacks, their bye weeks don't line up. Here, we have 3 quarterbacks. None of their buys line up, and out of our 4 running backs, none of them share the same bye. So that would make me a little more comfortable going with 4 running backs. Let's take Visca here. I think Laviska Shenault's a fine value in this range regardless, and we have Trevor Lawrence. So we're going to go with Laviska. And I think we're probably going to go ahead and take another receiver. Or you could possibly, like, do we have enough spike week potential in this wide receiver core? No, I don't like a single name on this list. Yeah, we're going to go through and we're going to take another receiver. We're going to take another one. It's going to lower our floor, but it's going to raise our ceiling, which is what we need to be doing in this draft, even if it makes us uncomfortable. Okay, so let's scroll through. Let's try to find someone that not many people are drafting. We're going to go Paris Campbell, as we have Matt Ryan on this team. We're going to keep it simple. We have Matt Ryan on this team. We're going to go through. We're going to scroll to the bottom of the list of the wide receiver position, someone that's not going in every single one of these drafts. So we have a player that has his ownership percentage hopefully slightly less than the rest of the league. Yeah. Let's go Campbell. Zach says, 12-team Superflex, 1.5 tight end premium dynasty startup. Sold my 107 and the 206 and got the 210, the 310, the 302, the 303, and the 308. Okay, so this is a startup draft. I was worried that this was a rookie draft at first, but obviously startup draft, those third-round picks are going to be significantly better. So here, if we're looking at this, pretty excited. The 107, let's say you sold Kyler Murray at the 107. The 206, let's say you sold DeAndre Swift. We'll just throw a name out there. The 210 and the 206 is going to be very similar. And if we just view the 302, the 303, the 308 versus the 107, you smashed it. In the middle of the third, you're going to be getting guys like Russell Wilson, Matthew Stafford at the quarterback position. So say you go out there and you draft Russell Wilson, Matthew Stafford. You're not going to get Mark Andrews falling to you in the third. But another example of a player you could get in the third, maybe at the wide receiver position, you could get Deebo Samuel in a super flex league. Like, would you rather have Deebo Samuel, Matthew Stafford, and Russell Wilson, or Deshaun Watson? Now, we would definitely prefer the package. Let me go through and recap this draft. Yes, we are going to get in another draft after this one. Of course, thank you so much for everybody coming out and dropping a like on the live stream. And thank you for everybody supporting this channel by going and signing up to Underdog Fantasy with the link in the live chat with promo code FLOCK. And if we go through, we drafted at the 109. If anybody wants to pause, take a screenshot, do whatever you want with this. So we drafted at the 109. Scroll through. Very rarely are you going to get the combination of Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, and Kyle Pitts to start off. I think that's going to be a very unique team that not many other people can match. Okay. So that is the entire draft board. And instead of showing the projection, I will flex on everybody. We almost got to a 3,000 projection, but that doesn't really matter. Let's just go through and hop into another draft. So if you want to get into a draft with us later this offseason, we are going to be doing some just regular private drafts. If you want to go get in a regular private draft in the public lobby or with your friends, you can just scroll down to the bottom here. You can get into a NHL draft. You can kind of get in whatever draft you want on Underdog Fantasy. They also have pick'ems, but we're not going to do pick'em right now. We can just hop into this tournament. So if you want to get into Basketball Mania 3 with us, we are entering right now. And good news for everybody, we have an empty lobby. We have 10 spots available. So if you are wanting to get in, you have an easy shot. And it looks like it just got full. Okay, so sorry if you were unable to get in. If you are now sitting in a lobby with like 3 people and don't want to draft if it's not with us, hell, you can just back out. Super simple. Okay, so we are drafting at the 104. I think we have an easy start with this. Maybe going to surprise some people. You know what? I'm hesitant because I know not many people are going to understand this, and especially people watching this like halfway through the draft, they're going to tune in and they're not going to hear this explanation and they're going to go, oh my God, Mason is just an idiot. He has no idea what he's doing. I'm unsubscribing from the channel. But there's an argument to be made. Hear me out. That if you go Stephon Diggs here at the 104, yes, take Stephon Diggs over Jamar Chase. Yes, take Stephon Diggs over Justin Jefferson. Both wide receivers who I would have ranked higher than Stephon Diggs. If you make that selection, you can set yourself up with having a very unique combination. Like I said, we're talking about that playoff setting at the very end. You can get Josh Allen in the third in a lot of these drafts. And on top of getting Josh Allen in the third, at the end of the second round, you're going to be pairing up Stephon Diggs with either a running back or receiver. Not many people are going to have with him. So I think there's an interesting argument for it. You have Cooper Kupp at the 101, Josh Allen at the 102. I mean, if you're drafting at the 102, you get Josh Allen, you're ecstatic. Okay. McCaffrey at the 103. Do I want to try to get creative, try to build a unique team, or just try to draft the best team? For this one, we're just going to try to draft the best team. I already have a Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen stack in this. I don't even think I've taken Justin Jefferson before. I honestly want to say, with all the drafts I've done here, I am unsure if I've had a draft at the 104, 105, 106. I'm probably misremembering. You can probably pull up a live stream where I do have one. Stephon Diggs goes to the 105. Okay, so exactly what we were talking about, going through and potentially trying to get that Josh Allen stack. Here you have Old Beanbag try to do that, taking Diggs at the 105. The issue is, so if you look at Stephon Diggs, the majority of these drafts, he's going at pick 9, 10, 11, 12, or 13, 14. So if you look at that and knowing that nobody's taking Josh Allen here at the beginning of the second round, if they are, probably not making a wise decision. There are a very few amount of these teams that are getting drafted in this overall tournament that have that combination of Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen. So I think there is a lot of merit of just going, yes, I am probably bleeding out some EV. Yes, I am probably losing some points in our median projection of passing up on a Jamar Chase for Stephon Diggs. But if you're able to make a unique team from the rest of the crowd with that strategy, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Okay. Zach says, bro, someone just let Jamar fall to the 107 in the draft I just got into. Very rarely are you going to see Jamar Chase at the 107. Okay, so you have some running backs going off here. Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Najee Harris. Okay, so JN got in the draft with us. Collins in the draft with us. I'm assuming almost everybody here is a part of the flock in this live stream right now. So, of course, thank you guys. And we have, dear God, it's the off season right now. Like a part of our Dynasty channel, yeah, streaming with 300 people watching isn't that big of a deal. But, dear God, thank you for the support. During the offseason, over 300 people hanging out in the live stream. I do truly appreciate y'all. So Devontae Adams of the 110, and we are going to be doing this very often. So if you're having fun and you want to get into a draft with us, I promise you, you are going to have so many opportunities. Just sign up to Underdog Fantasy now. Make sure you go get our 2022 rankings today. When you sign up with promo code FLOCK, you can find the link in the description, find it in the live chat, and they'll match your deposit dollar for dollar up to 100. Fallon says, yo, how's it been, Mason? Man, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I was looking forward to this stream. Okay, Mark Andrews goes to the 201. Mark Andrews over Travis Kelce here. Very interesting. CeeDee Lamb at the 202. DeAndre Swift at the 203. Aaron Jones at the 204. JN mixing things up. Very rarely are you going to see JN go with 2 running backs in a row. I can almost guarantee everybody in this draft now that JN is drafting probably 6 wide receivers straight. Knowing JN, I don't know if he's going to get mad at me for saying this, but very rarely have I've ever seen him go running back to start off one of these drafts. Okay, Top Dog out in the draft with us, probably in the chat as well. Let me see if I can find him. I'm assuming he's in the chat. Maybe he hasn't sent a message. Scrolled back a decent ways. I can't see him, but nonetheless, thank you, of course, for coming out, my man. Okay. Mike Evans, Travis Kelce go back to back here. Yeah, we're going to go Deebo Samuel. Very simple. Like, I think we are going to want to go wide receiver heavy. I think the running backs that we'll have available to us in the third round, they're going to be in a similar tier to what we have currently sitting there with Nick Chubb and Javonte Williams. So I have no issue whatsoever taking Deebo Samuel at the 209. I felt very comfortable when we've gone wide receiver heavy to start these drafts. Last draft, we didn't. And like y'all saw in the middle rounds where I really think that those running backs like Josh Jacobs, a lot of times they're the best values. You simply can't take them if you fall behind the 8 ball at the wide receiver position. So it's Deebo Samuel. That's not really close for me. Maybe you can make the argument with T. Higgins, but you also have to keep in mind there are going to be a lot more of these teams that have the combination of Justin Jefferson and T. Higgins than there will be with Justin Jefferson and Deebo Samuel based on how the ADPs line up. Spack says, I took so many L's last year. Yeah, if y'all don't know, oh my gosh. If y'all are new to the flock, we live stream for like 3 or 4 hours every single night for like the entire month of August. And we're going to do that again this year. We're starting early this year. But we stream these drafts every single night. And Spack got into probably over 100 of them. And he was so confident. I want to say he was idiotic. He did not care about his exposures whatsoever. That he went through and in the first round, you know who he took in the first round pretty much every single draft. Don't like A.J. Brown. Our plan was to go wide receiver. We're going wide receiver. I mean, if Barkley would have fallen to us, probably would have gone Barkley, but it is what it is. In almost every single draft, the man took a wild swing and went Antonio Gibson in the first and followed it up with J.K. Dobbins in the second. Like I said, took a wild swing. I like guys like ETN. I like guys like Cam Akers. I got screwed, but that's one of the reasons you want to be drafting in these early, because if you have one of those injuries that happens during the offseason, say if you have an injury to Miles Sanders tears his ACL in training camp, all of a sudden, if you got Kenneth Gainwell in like the 14th round, you are sitting with a juggernaut team, and you don't have the option to have that in August. So there is an advantage to drafting early, but there's also risk. If you go and draft 100% of your teams with J.K. Dobbins and he goes down for the year, you better be picking up some extra shifts at work. You better be texting your boss going, hey man, yeah, I made a pretty bad mistake. Is there a shift I can get on Saturday? You better be sending that text out the second you get the news, because you're probably losing a decent amount of money. Okay, so top dog goes with Breece Hall at the 308. Breece Hall was going to be a running back that we were targeting at the beginning of the 5th round. Guess we don't have the option to get him now. Okay, so let's see what Jayan decides to do here at the end of the 2nd. Maybe Jayan throws a wrench into things. We'll figure it out. I mean, I'd imagine he ends up probably going Jalen Waddle, but who knows? He goes Mike Williams. So I think you can easily make an argument to just go through and to take Mike Williams over that Jalen Waddle tier this upcoming season, because if you're looking at Mike Williams, he is another wide receiver 2 in his offense. Yet the difference is he's not playing with Tua Tagovailoa. He's playing with who everybody thought Tua was going to be in Justin Herbert. And he does have the spike week potential on a week-to-week basis. Personally, I've still been taking Waddle. Waddle just does look like an elite level wide receiver, even though he does have the horrendous situation he is a part of. But if we look at Jalen Waddle and his rookie season stats, Jalen Waddle had 104 receptions, over 1,000 receiving yards. Jalen Waddle had a better season his rookie year than Michael Pittman, who has pretty much the same ADP as him. Michael Pittman had his sophomore season. If we go through and we compare Jalen Waddle to CeeDee Lamb in their rookie seasons, Jalen Waddle was better across the board in a worse offense. So yeah, Tyreek Hill is going to be bad for Jalen Waddle. I can't deny that. It's hard for me to go through and take Mike Williams, Michael Pittman, and Hollywood Brown over Waddle, though, even though I know so much of it is just based on the efficiency of the offense you're going to be playing. It's still pretty tough for me. Okay, so here you have the Mark Andrews team going with Lamar Jackson. Yeah, the team that ended up getting Kelsey at the 206, I kind of agree. I think when you go Kelsey at the 206, you shouldn't be reaching on Patrick Mahomes in the middle of the 3rd. Instead, you go, hell, we got a massive value on Travis Kelsey. Let's see if Mahomes does make it back to us. But you are going to see that he probably ends up having to go wide receiver here in the middle of the 4th round. Regardless, you would have been put in a very difficult position if you didn't. Okay, so let's pull this up. And oh, dear God, we got some value falling to us. Deontay Johnson goes at the 406. DK Metcalf at pick 43. We're probably going to have a completely different build than what we had in the last draft. Darren Waller goes to the... Yeah, we're going to have to go DJ Moore here. We're going to have to go DJ Moore. We're getting him pick 45. His ADP is pick 37 with DJ Moore. Like I said, from this draft position, I do want to be going with wide receiver early, knowing that the wide receiver value is going to get soaked up. And when we are in rounds 6, 7, 8, 9, we're probably going to want to be taking running backs there. Last draft, we started with Dalvin Cook and Derrick Henry. So we went a little bit running back heavy, but here I think when the board falls to you in this way, we kind of have to take advantage. Now, Justin Herbert goes at pick 411 to stack with Keenan Allen here. I would be interested if Colin, I guess you probably go Herbert and you don't even risk it because a lot of the wide receivers in this range are about the same. So yeah, there's no reason for you to risk it. So you can possibly get Terry McLaurin making it back to when you can take Chris Godwin and it's the same thing. So yeah, great pick, Justin Herbert at the end of the 4th. That's something that I make the mistake on way too often is I'll go, okay, yeah, I want the stack, but do I have to draft it now? Do I have to take it now? Jerry Jeudy, Chris Godwin. So you have that wide receiver run happening. This wide receiver run happens in every single one of these drafts in this range. This isn't something unique to this draft. Allen Robinson goes at pick 503. Yeah, so we're going to go through. We're going to take our running back one. We are just going to get a ton of guaranteed volume coming in. We are going to get David Montgomery, like David Montgomery compared to Courtland Sutton, David Montgomery compared to Juju, David Montgomery compared to Gabriel Davis. This is why we wanted to be taking wide receivers earlier in this draft because I've seen Like, this is the advantage you have by watching these live streams, by getting in these drafts, especially when we get to the actual redraft season and everybody's coming in and they don't have the practice. And hell, I don't want to be taking Cortland Sutton in the 5th. So while, yes, maybe in a vacuum, you prefer Breece Hall or James Conner over A.J. Brown just slightly, I would much prefer the combination of A.J. Brown and David Montgomery compared to Cortland Sutton and James Conner. So I'm going to go through and maybe make a bad pick early so I can make a great pick late. I'm excited about that selection of David Montgomery. You're going to see Top Dog. He probably has to go wide receiver. JN has to go wide receiver in this range. And probably the same thing with Patty. So I think we're going to continue to have a wide receiver run happen at the end here, even though wide receivers aren't great values on the board. You almost have no choice. And that's why we were put in a very difficult position whenever we went through and started that draft with no wide receivers. But we got lucky because remember, that team was auto drafting so many running backs. Top Dog goes Kyler Murray. Interesting. Top Dog, he knows what he's doing. He's in a ton of these drafts with us. Okay. So I want to see how his team plays out. See where JN decides to go. He goes J.K. Dobbins. We actually took J.K. Dobbins to the end of the 5th in a draft earlier this morning. Juju Smith-Schuster at the 5'10". See who's currently available. So you have Antonio Gibson, Josh Jacobs, Elijah Mitchell, the running back position, Michael Thomas, Rashad Bateman, Brandon Cooks at wide receiver. I think we may get our first share of Jalen Hurts in one of these drafts. We're 9 picks away. Rashad Bateman, Michael Thomas, both go. Antonio Gibson. Yeah, a lot of these teams before us already have a quarterback. We have A.J. Brown, so we have that natural stack. Obviously, Jalen Hurts has the elite rushing upside. So we may end up going Jalen Hurts. Obviously, I don't want to say this out loud in a draft that everybody's in with us, but hell, just my thought process. Antonio Gibson goes at the 601. Ted says, I'm experimenting, have a plan, but we'll see. Okay, so Ted is top dog here. So he's experimenting. He's gone 0 wide receivers through the first 5 rounds. I'm interested to see how it plays out. This team goes Joe Burrow. I guess they do have Joe Mixon, but I personally am not a big fan of taking Joe Burrow there, especially because Burrow doesn't have the rushing upside. Maybe I'm wrong, though. If you think Burrow has a chance to lead the NFL in passing yards, I mean, what's the difference between taking Mahomes in the 4th and Burrow in the 6th? Okay, so top dog on the clock. Ooh, really interested to see where he goes. Okay, so he has Breece Hall, Alvin Kamara, Austin Eckler, George Kittle, and Kyler Murray. So he has the best running back core in the league. He has one of the best tight ends, one of the best quarterbacks, just behind the 8 ball at the receiver position. Okay. Hopefully we come away with Jalen Hurts. It's not a guarantee, though. So Kelly does not have a quarterback. They go Jalen Hurts. It is what it is. I'm fine with it. I'm honestly probably not going to go running back here based on how this draft is going to get laid out. I mean, if you look at this tier of wide receivers, after this tier of receiver is gone, we have a dramatic drop-off. And I think the drop-off of running back has already occurred. After Josh Jacobs is off the board, I think that we have already seen that tier drop at the running back position, where you still have these wide receivers left available that I'm going to be fine with. Now, if we are taking a swing on a wide receiver here, I am personally going to be going for someone that has that elite level ceiling because we already have Jefferson, we have Debo, we have A.J. Brown, we have DJ Moore. We're taking our wide receiver 5. So if we're taking someone that has the elite level ceiling, I'm going to be preferring to go with a Drake London over an Elijah Moore. Drake London going to a bad situation with Marcus Mariota his rookie season, but he's an elite level prospect. I do truly think that Drake London is the rookie wide receiver 1 this upcoming season. And like I said, I'm not too worried about the running back fall off happening because I think it already has. Whereas wide receivers, there's still talent left on the board. Okay, so Clutch Cow on the clock. He goes Elijah Moore, so he goes with the safer option. I think you can easily make the argument to go with Elijah Moore in these drafts. But for our team in particular, I think when you're going with 0 running backs and you were loading up on those elite level wide receivers, you can afford to take a much, I don't want to say riskier pick, but a pick with a wider range of outcomes. Okay, so Elijah Mitchell goes at the 612. Let's pull this back up. So if we were looking at different ways we could go, Russell Wilson goes to the 701. I was going to say we weren't too interested in going with Russell Wilson based on the fact that that's a quarterback we don't have any of his pass catching options with. Hawkinson would have been our play if Hawkinson would have fallen to us. Now, I think what we end up doing is we probably end up getting the pseudo stack with Devontae Smith to pair with A.J. Brown. You could also make the argument that we should probably... I think you can go either way. You know what? We're going to go Hopkins instead. Very similar to why we took Drake London. I think if you get to that final tournament, DeAndre Hopkins is going to be a player that not many people own because he didn't make it through the first 6 weeks. If DeAndre Hopkins does not play through the first 6 weeks, his overall point expectations this upcoming season are going to decimate you. And if you were getting decimated by DeAndre Hopkins for the first 6 weeks in the majority of leagues, you just have to think about, okay, in weeks 15, 16, 17, when you're playing against the rest of the field, not many teams are going to have DeAndre Hopkins, but what teams would be able to survive DeAndre Hopkins? The teams that have those elite level wide receivers to go. So if Hopkins does go on a 3-week stretch where he gets 25, 27, 30 points through that playoff setting, I think you do have access to the elite level ceiling. So, of course, once we go Hopkins, though, we really need to hope that we get running backs, that we get quarterbacks, that we get tight ends falling to us, which I think they will. Like, to be completely honest, I think there's almost a 100% chance they do. Okay, so Glitch Aspect says, Dad, is that you? Oh, my God. I've been searching for you so long, son. So long. Okay, but... going back to the draft, you have Smith, you have Adam Thielen, you have Hunter Renfrow going in the middle of the 7th. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about. I mean, those running backs, I think that the tier already happened. I would have been fine. I mean, if we had Elijah Mitchell, if we had A.J. Dillon making it back to us in the 7th, I would have been fine taking a running back there. But I'm interested in this. I think we can also draft 6 running backs in this build because we're going to save those roster spots at the wide receiver position. Instead of drafting 8 receivers, we're probably going to be only drafting 7. It depends on the value, of course. Everything is based on that value. Okay, so Top Dog takes his second wide receiver with Brandon Ayuk at the 708. JN so far has Mike Williams, Darnell Mooney at receiver, Najee Harris, Aaron Jones, Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins at running back. If we're looking at some of the stacks we could potentially have, Kirk Cousins, Trey Lance. We're not taking anybody for Carolina. Probably not taking Mariota either. So Kirk Cousins, Trey Lance are the 2 quarterbacks that are currently on our radar. JN decides to go with his 3rd running back with Miles Sanders. That's interesting. Let me pull up. Oh, my man. I agree with you. I think in a vacuum, Miles Sanders probably is better than Lockett. But if you're thinking about this rationally and you're going, okay, after Lockett goes off the board, you're getting a pretty far drop off at the wide receiver position. Whereas if you just go ahead and you take Lockett, you're still going to be getting one of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Cordell Patterson, Kenneth Walker making it back to you. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Lockett. Hell, I could easily be wrong here. Patty goes Lockett. Yeah, I think it's 100% understandable. If you want to lock in that 5th running back and you want to hoard those running backs, it's fine to go Sanders, but I'm just viewing Sanders in the same light as like, what's the real difference between Miles Sanders, Kenneth Walker, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Cordell Patterson? Or I think in a best ball format, there is that big drop off from Lockett to these other wide receivers down here. Okay, so Prescott goes to the 802. It would have been interesting to take Prescott if he would have fallen all the way down to us. Chris Olave goes at the 803. See where I probably ends up going, Garrett Wilson? I think that's Christian Watson. Okay, so just another rookie wide receiver, just someone that is available in that range. Okay, let's pull this up. Okay, so Stafford would be intriguing. What's going to suck is we are so weak at running back. We probably want 6 RBs. But we don't have a quarterback or a tight end either. So we may be in a situation where we have to draft 3 tight ends. We have to draft 3 quarterbacks. And we may end up getting capped. So like if Stafford were to fall to us, it would be intriguing to talk about, to say the least, because we could potentially get away with taking Stafford and then not having to take someone else. Okay. So Old Beanbag is here. Allen at quarterback. He has the stack with Stephon Diggs. Running back, Leonard Fournette, Cortland Sutton, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Darren Waller at tight end. A very balanced team. I really like that team. Like this is what I'm talking about. I think taking Stephon Diggs. Okay, Cordell Patterson goes. Okay, wide receiver. We have Jefferson, Debo. We're going to take Damian Harris here. I am not a big fan of Damian Harris by any stretch of the imagination. Like, this is a running back that has no role in the receiving game whatsoever. But what we are looking for at this point is guaranteed touches. And why we are taking Damian Harris, I'm fine going with him, knowing that we are probably going to end up getting a Trey Lance or an Aaron Rodgers making it back to us. I would love Lance for the Deebo Samuel stack in particular, but Aaron Rodgers is someone I see in a very similar tier to Matthew Stafford. So what I was talking about with Jay like previously is I would be worried about taking Damian Harris here, and then you have both Tony Pollard, Damian Harris, and Kareem Hunt all going off the board, whereas I'm fine passing on Matthew Stafford because I think it's a lot less likely you get 3 quarterbacks in a row off the board after we go Damian Harris than you would have 3 running backs. So just looking at how those tiers break down, we are going to go with Harris there. It would have been, I would have been more excited if Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Cordell Patterson would have made it to us. I would have been a lot more excited if that would have happened. Like, I'm not a massive fan of Damian Harris, but it is what it is. Okay, so Christian Kirk goes here as Dane's wide receiver 5. I think he's maybe on auto draft. Selfishly, I kind of hope he's on auto draft and he's getting Garrett Wilson because we have 6 wide receivers. No, okay, he's not. He goes Kareem Hunt. It is what it is. Garrett Wilson probably goes off the board here regardless. Robert Woods over Garrett Wilson. So this team, after his clutch cow, ended up going Stafford, even though they didn't have the Los Angeles Rams stack. Okay, Michael Gallup, pick 99. I can't take Garrett Wilson. If we could get back into a time machine, we probably go and change one of our picks. Like we change Drake London, we get Elijah Mitchell, and instead we grab Garrett Wilson here. But we can't. And instead we are wanting to only have to draft 2 quarterbacks. We need to only draft 2 quarterbacks. That way we have access to drafting 6 RBs. And if we pass on quarterbacks in this range, we are then going to be in a tier where we have to draft 3. I think Trey Lance has enough upside. We have the stack with Deebo Samuel that we can get away with only drafting 2 if we take Lance here in particular. So yeah, I think we have no other option but to go Trey Lance. If we revisit what we did, I think we made the correct decision in passing on Matthew Stafford for Damian Harris, knowing that that teardrop was coming at the running back position and was going to last a little bit longer at quarterback. So getting Damian Harris and Trey Lance instead of Matthew Stafford and Devin Singletary, yeah, I like that. I like that. Okay, so let's scroll this down. Alan Lazard goes at the 907. Smack says, Will Smith hit that like button for more drafts. Thank you, of course, my man, for coming out. And let me know how much y'all are enjoying these drafts because, like I said, I was planning on doing like 1 a week until we got to about July or August. And then after that, I was going to go ahead and then start doing 2 or 3 a week in maybe July. And then once we get to August, I was going to do them every day. But we have over 300 people out here right now. Like, if y'all are really enjoying these, I'll go through and I'll get more going. Derek says, I wear Damian Harris pajamas. Okay, let me look this up. I'm assuming you're joking, my man. Is there a meme about Damian Harris pajamas or something? Okay, it looks like there is such a thing as New England Patriots pajamas. Okay, Derek, if you're not trolling me right now, my man, I'm assuming I'm just looking like an idiot and this is clearly a joke, but if there is that 5% chance it actually is true that you have Damian Harris pajamas, I need to see a picture of what they look like. Ted says, damn you, taking Lance. I was going to take him. Interesting that I take Lance and then you decide to go through and pass on Rodgers. Actually, I guess you took Kittle earlier, didn't you? Yeah, you took George Kittle in the 4th. I guess that makes sense. Jameson Williams goes at the 10:02. Jan decided to go Aaron Rodgers at the 9:09. Really like the Aaron Rodgers pick, especially it makes a lot more sense if he was planning this out, looking at the ADP of Rodgers, saying there's a chance that he ended up getting him at the end of the 9th. And that's why he went with Christian Watson over Russell Gage, over Christian Kirk, over Garrett Wilson in particular. Okay, so I really like that combination of picks there. And he goes Marquez Valdez-Scantling at the 10:04. Really love the Marquez Valdez-Scantling pick, especially with this build as well. Okay, so let's go through, pick up where we left off. We are 2 picks away here 2 picks away. The thing is, I think we've waited so long on tight end. So if we were to say grab Zach Ertz and then Pat Freiermuth on the way back around, could we be done drafting 2 tight ends? Tyler Boyd goes to the 10:07. I think we almost have to draft 3 tight ends regardless. Rashad Penny goes to the 10:08. Yeah, I don't think we are getting away with drafting 2. Like, it's something I would have said previously, but I was just wrong. Like, looking into the math of it and looking at advance rates, I think we're having to grab 3 tight ends when we wait this long, regardless of who we take here. And if that's going to be the case, I'm going to take Chase Edmonds. I mean, with Edmonds, he's going to be in a committee in Miami. Yes, it does suck. But this is a running back that was a great pass-catching option. He split the backfield with James Conner last year. Raheem Mostert's getting paid no money whatsoever. Raheem Mostert has had 1 game in his entire NFL career with 20 carries. 1 game in his entire NFL career with 20 or more carries. The man's 30 years old. Raheem Mostert's nothing. The only reason you know his name is because he was good for a 3-game stretch for the 49ers during a playoff run. And then outside of that, Sony Michel may not even make the team. Myles Gaskin is a complete jack. Like, Chase Edmonds is getting paid by far and away the most money there. I think you have to project Chase Edmonds to be the starting running back. And we're taking him over someone like Kadarius Toney. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, Freiermuth goes at the 10:11. Zach Ertz at the 10:12. Okay. Both these teams have 3 running backs. Both these teams have the same exact build. 3 running backs, 5 receivers, a quarterback, and a tight end. We're the only team, I think, left in the entire draft without a tight end. No. Copfather doesn't have one. Here, wait 1 second, boys. Wait 1 second. Everybody quiet down. Quiet down. Here we go. Load it up. Load it up. There we go. A couple other quarterbacks are going to be going very late. That they're going to look like great values. But we need to make sure we're only drafting 2 quarterbacks. We need to make sure that we have 2 guys that are going to carry us throughout the entire season. They have different bye weeks. Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins, Trey Lance, Deebo Samuel. We're getting stacks with these quarterbacks. We're doing so at a value as well. Kirk Cousins at the beginning of the 11th, stack him up with Justin Jefferson. So far, our team, quarterback position, Trey Lance, Kirk Cousins, both stacked. Wide receiver, Justin Jefferson, Deebo Samuel, A.J. Brown, DJ Moore, Drake London, DeAndre Hopkins. One of the best wide receiver cores this league has ever seen. Running back, we're weak as hell. Running back, we got David Montgomery, Damian Harris, Chase Edmonds. We're going to be very bad at tight end as well, but we're going to go through and draft 3 tight ends, so it's not going to be too big of a deal. Okay. War Rocket says, right hand T, left hand A. Right hand T, left hand A. Okay. Maybe, I don't know what that means. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. Now, the only thing I know is fantasy football. Okay. Stefan says, thoughts on Bryan Edwards, Mariota chemistry, and only 23 years old. Not buying into the chemistry narrative in the slightest. Bryan Edwards was a decent prospect. Like, if you look at our prospect model coming out of South Carolina, it loved Bryan Edwards. I actually kind of overrided that model, though. I wasn't a big fan of him in 2019 because if you looked at a lot of that production, Bryan Edwards actually got it by primarily being used as a wide receiver in the screen game. So I'm not the biggest fan of Bryan Edwards. If you think about it, why would he have failed so miserably in Las Vegas? With what competition? At the end of the season, it was Hunter Renfrow and Hunter Renfrow alone. You had no Henry Ruggs. You also had no Darren Waller. Bryan Edwards has had so many opportunities. He's never done anything with them either. So no, I'm not a big fan of Edwards. Okay, so real quick, I'm about to get an email with how many underdog signups that we've had in the past 24 hours. If we have enough underdog signups, I will go through and we'll get another draft going. Well, we'll get it. I'm not going to say how many out loud. It's my business, not yours. But please, if you have not done so already, go sign up to Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK. They will match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. You will get our 2022 rankings. You will be able to have some fun, get into drafts with us on the live stream, get into drafts with your friends in the public lobby, whatever you want. And most importantly, you will support this channel. Okay, so Ramondre Stevenson, Isaiah Spiller at the 11-12 turn. We still need running back. Obviously, we have David Montgomery, Damian Harris, Chase Edmonds. We are not out of the woods at the running back position. John says, Brian Edwards will be Rashad Matthews 2.0. 70 receptions, 900 receiving yards, and 8 receiving touchdowns. My friend, there is approximately a 0% chance that happens. I would bet any amount of money on this planet. I'd be taking out loans to put on a bet that Brian Edwards never in his entire NFL career has a season with 70 receptions, 900 receiving yards, and 8 receiving touchdowns. Dear God. Okay. Rashad White goes to the 12-03. Okay, so interesting spot with quarterbacks falling. I don't think we can take a third here. Tua has an ADP of 130. Let's see what happens. Top dog. So Ted is up. He's just gone receiver. He has been putting it together. It's Cooks, Ayuk, Gage, Claypool, Rondale Moore, Jarvis Landry. An elite level quarterback, elite running backs, and elite tight end as well. He goes Van Jefferson over Myers, over Jamison Crowder, over Jahan Dotson. Dotson would have been my pick. But Van Jefferson doesn't share the same bye. I guess maybe you can make a case on that. Great for us. You love seeing Tua Tagovailoa off the field. I'm sorry, off the board. Okay, so Eckler time, ETN, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Melgo at running back. They have 5 receivers. I wish I could trade him for Adam Thielen. Okay, it looks like old Beanbag's probably done at the tight end position. They have a Waller and Gesicki. We need to look at the teams between us. Okay, Hawkinson, Frymuth, Ertz. Okay, so these teams can easily still take tight end. These teams could easily still go tight end. Jamison Crowder goes off the board. If we're looking at the difference between Albert O, Hunter Henry, and Cole Kmet, it's whatever. It's whatever for me. Y'all know I was making fun of people that were hyping up Michael Carter after Breece Hall was drafted, saying he's still going to have a role. We were saying immediately he needed to be going behind Tony Pollard, behind Alexander Madison in these drafts. To get Michael Carter at pick 141 on a team that desperately needs any running back touches we can have, we're taking Michael Carter. And we're just going to take whatever tight end makes it to us on the way back around, unless we get some crazy value like Jahan Dotson. Blake Chop is coming out with a massive donation. Thank you, my man. Says, good luck, brother. Hope you're doing well. I don't know if you're answering questions, but I watched your video about Stafford, and I happen to have Zach Wilson. Should I offer Tua? And if the owner doesn't want Wilson, thanks and have a good one. Thank you, my man. And I'm assuming you're talking about our Dynasty video where we were just hyping up Matthew Stafford as a cornerstone asset you can build around for a very long time. Yes, I would easily trade either one of Tua Tagovailoa or Zach Wilson. Please let me know if this is not what you're asking. But yes, Stafford's a little bit older. Stafford's going to be 34 years old this upcoming season if he's not already 34. But at the end of the day, we've seen these quarterbacks be able to last till they're 38, 39 years old consistently in the NFL. We're not expecting him to be 45 out there slinging it like Tom Brady, but he can still last for the next 5 to 6 seasons. He has a higher floor and ceiling combination during that time period, in my opinion, than both Zach Wilson and Tua Tagovailoa. Please let me know. Please let me know if that's not what you're asking, and I'd be happy to answer whatever it is you're asking, but I think that's what it is. So please go get some Matthew Stafford. Okay. So Trevor Lawrence goes to the 13-01. Good for us. We kind of want these quarterbacks going off. Interesting to see Trevor Lawrence go before Justin Fields. The team does have Christian Kirk. I still probably go Justin Fields. I don't know. Blake says, that was definitely what I was asking. Thank you, boss. I already got Watson, so I'm going to try to package someone up. Thank you. No, thank you, my dude. And yeah, I would be willing to go through and throw a piece on to Wilson, throw a piece on to Tua Tagovailoa as well. Just say, hey, man, you're getting a younger player. You're going younger. Okay, so here, pick 148. We need tight end. We were going to draft 3 of these guys regardless. We were just going to take whoever was left over out of Cole Kmet, Albert O, and Hunter Henry. My personal preference would have been Cole Kmet, not even close. I love me some Cole Kmet, but hell, we needed to get Michael Carter. I think the gap between Michael Carter and Tyler Allgeier or James Robinson is going to be larger than the gap between Hunter Henry and Cole Kmet. mean, if you're just looking at players that can catch touchdowns in New England, there are not many viable red zone options there. Okay, so Kenneth Gainwell goes at the 1305. Top Dog says, I have too much Jahan Dotson already. Yeah, I get it. I get it, my man. It would have been interesting. Let me know what y'all think of this. Should we have gone? Actually, no, we couldn't have. Even though the stack would have been appealing, yada, yada, yada. I don't think we could have ever taken KJ Osborne over a running back or a tight end there. I think our team just desperately needed one. But right now we have 2 quarterbacks, 4 running backs, 6 receivers, and a tight end. So we're going to go 3 tight ends on this build. Possibly get our way up to 6 running backs. Definitely at least 5 to 6 running backs, 3 tight ends. That should leave 7 or 8 wide receiver spots. So we're going to get 2 more tight ends in this draft, 1 to 2 more running backs, and then 1 to 2 more receivers, just depending on where the value falls. Okay, Tyler Gear goes to the 13-10, DJ Chark. And we're balanced at this point where I don't even really watch the draft board going, oh, I really hope we get a running back falling to us. Y'all know we were praying for running backs whenever we needed someone like Chase Edmonds, when we needed Michael Carter making it to us. But at this point, I'm kind of chill. Like, if y'all want to go running back, fine with it. Y'all want to go receiver, we're cool with it. We're just going to take what the board gives. Okay, so let's scroll this over. I want to see what players are available. Okay, so top of the draft board, James Robinson, Corey Davis, Naheem Hines. Like, it is very interesting. I don't know if it's maybe I'm just drafting with y'all too much, but like, they're the same players in almost every single one of these drafts on Underdog Fantasy that seem to fall like 2 rounds past their ADP. Like, James Robinson is the perfect example of that. I've never seen him go before pick 150. So like, I don't know how his ADP is actually pick 150. I only see him go later than this. Tyler Higbee, David Njoku. We are clearly hoping that a tight end would have made it to us, but it is the same. I mean, Noah Fant coming isn't the end of the world. Ted may end up, actually, he has George Kittle. We don't know what he's going to do. I will say right now, actually, I don't need to say anything. We're just chilling. We're just hanging out. Okay, Jalen Tolbert at 1405. So the teams between us, you have Clutch Cow with 3 running backs, 1 tight end. Colin 4 running backs, 2 tight ends. Dane with 3 running backs, 2 tight ends. So we can assume that some running backs and tight ends are going to be going off the board here. But yeah, that's who's best available according to ADP regardless. But if we're breaking this down, like, I'm never drafting Raheem Mostert. I don't care if Raheem Mostert makes it to the 18th round. I will never draft this man. Gus Edwards, Keel Herbert, here and there. We're just getting no fan. We're just getting no fan, especially because I think one of these teams, like Clutch Cow, probably is going to take Everett. I hope he doesn't, but probably will. So yeah, we need our second tight end. We are going to get no fan. We're taking a 3rd tight end regardless. We can probably afford to do so at the very end of the draft. So far, quarterback, we got Trey Lance, Kirk Cousins, running back, David Montgomery, Damian Harris, Chase Edmonds, Michael Carter, wide receiver, Justin Jefferson, Deebo Samuel, A.J. Brown, DJ Moore, Drake London, DeAndre Hopkins, tight end, Hunter Henry, Noah Fant. Blake says, are these leagues free to join or pay to play? Every draft on Underdog Fantasy is pay to play. So this draft here is going to be a $25 buy-in. Once we get enough of these Best Ball Mania drafts done with, I'm probably going to be taking a pause halfway through the offseason, and instead we'll switch over to private drafts until we get closer to the year, and then we'll get back into Best Ball Mania drafts, unless it looks like it's going to fill, which Best Ball Mania is filling very quickly. But nonetheless, what I'm essentially saying is we are going to get like $5 drafts underway. We're going to get some $3 drafts under the way. So very, very cheap drafts that we can just go through and mock with. But no, this is a $25 buy-in. Okay, so Clutch Cow. I'm interested. I want to know if they're going to go with the 3rd quarterback eventually. They have Stafford and Zach Wilson. I don't know what I would do. But here, what are we going to be looking at with the running backs on the way back around? I probably just want to go ahead and take Gerald Everett. We're going to need 3 tight ends. If you don't have one of Darren Waller, I can't get him in. If you don't have one of Darren Waller, Mark Andrews, or Travis Kelce, or Kyle Pitts, I think you have to take 3 tight ends. I was wrong about that previously. We've already gone through and we've already apologized for telling people to only draft 2 once you get past there. But I think after this, like you're going to be looking at a gross range on the way back around. Like I've already been stuck in the spot where we have to take Evan Ingram, and there's just nothing worse. Nothing worse. G8 says, when did the puppy draft come out last year? Oh yeah, so puppy drafts are going to be very similar to Best Ball Mania, where they have that tournament at the very end. Love the Brian Robinson pick. One of the reasons I took Gerald Everett is I thought there was a chance Brian Robinson would make it back to us in the 16th. But going back to the puppy drafts are very similar to Best Ball Mania, where they're going to be just your regular 12-team league. First place gets paid, second place gets paid, but a portion of every league is set aside for that tournament at the very end during the playoff setting. So that will be another thing we can get into, and that's only going to be a $5 buy-in. I don't necessarily know when it's going to come out, though. I'd assume probably mid-June. I don't know. I think that they probably want to fill a lot of these Best Ball Manias first. Okay. Robbie Anderson at the 1509. This is my 4th draft of the day. I know we only did 2 on the live stream, but we did 2 at the gym. So I need to slow it down just because you can only do 150 of these. You get capped. Yes, we can do a lot of puppy drafts and stuff, but you can only do 150 of these Best Ball Mania drafts. Okay, so we are 9 picks away. It looks like people are really going to test me on if we would ever draft Raheem Mostert. We do have Chase Edmonds on the team. Yada, yada, yada. Daniel Jones goes at the 15-12. Devin Duvernay right after. You see that Devin Duvernay ADP consistently going up. That's before JN took him. My initial reaction is once you see Devin Duvernay go off the board, it was probably JN. This time it was not. Onion says, I love the only 150 of these. Yeah, I mean, you're only doing 150. Keep in mind, you don't do the waivers. You don't submit your starting lineup at any point. So it really is just that time commitment to get in that initial draft. And then from there, it runs. Yes, I know I'm saying only 150, but keep in mind, it's May 22nd. The season doesn't start for another 3 months. So we're going to be live streaming. We're probably going to have 100 live streams and average like 3 drafts a live stream. And then on top of that, I'm going to be drafting outside, like at the gym and stuff. Like that adds up quickly. If we do 100 live streams, we do 3 drafts a live stream, that's 300 drafts right there. So when I say only 150, I mean only 150. Okay, so. God, these running backs are gross. I'm talking about, not the running backs on the board, I'm talking about the running backs on our team. Okay, so the teams between us, they all only have 4 running backs. Like there's going to be pick 189 to 196. Every single one of these teams only has 1 running back. A lot of these teams have, every team has 7 to 8 wide receivers. So yeah, we have to go running back here. We have no other option. I think you could possibly make the argument that we go with the quarterback 3 and we take Mac Jones because we do have Hunter Henry. But no, I think when we draft 3 tight ends, you really can't get away with going through and drafting 3 quarterbacks as well. So we're going to go take Marlon Mack. It's gross, but we just need guaranteed touches. We need touches coming in. Okay. So after this, I would be very interested. Hayden Hurst goes here. How many tight ends did they have? Okay, they only had 1 tight end. Yeah, and that's why we ended up having to draft Gerald Everett. Like, if we revisit this, that was a pretty difficult decision. Sorry about that. It was a decision we did have to make. If you were looking at not this pick that we just made, but the Gerald Everett selection, I was thinking we probably wanted Tyrion Davis-Price, but looking at the tight end board, it was, do we want Gerald Everett and Marlon Mack, or do we want Hayden Hurst and Tyrion Davis-Price? So that's why we ended up going with the tight end there, expecting that the fall off was going to happen a little bit sooner. We were going to get a running back falling to us. I was hoping that our running back was going to be Brian Robinson falling to us because y'all know I have that rookie fever. Let's slide this down. Quarterbacks are still going. We have 2 tight ends off the board now. Hassan Haskins goes at the 1701. Donta Foreman. I was really hoping we got Donta Foreman coming back to us. Okay. So running backs at the very end of this draft. Gross, but the running backs here, Who could we possibly even take? I think we probably just grab AJ Green. We have DeAndre Hopkins on the team saying, oh, well, actually, do we even need to cover that up? We have. Yeah, Sony Michel, Zamir White, nothing special about them. We're going to go through. We're going to grab AJ Green. We're going to grab AJ Green. He'll be our 7th receiver. We're going to take his 6th running back. We can go through, queue up these RBs. I'm just going to go and show everybody the draft board real quick. Of course, thank you so much if you came out to the live stream, if you hung out with us. I truly do appreciate you. I do hope that you have a great Sunday as well and you're able to spend it with your family. I probably should in this live stream soon if I'm going to be responsible, because I need to go through and I need to do at least complete the research for our Dynasty video and then record that Dynasty video. So thank you. We'll go through. We'll queue up some running backs together. We need a running back. Okay, so running back, we'll throw Zamir White on there simply because he's on the thumbnail. Okay, so Zamir White's on the thumbnail. We'll put him on. After that, let's go through. Who else do we have on this team? We have David Montgomery, Damian Harris, Chase Edmonds, Michael Carter. I don't really think it matters who we have on the team at running back. Who would we even want to queue up after Zamir White? Dear God. Honestly, Eno Benjamin. I know they go out there and they draft Keontae Ingram, but it is what it is. Samaje Perine. Chris Evans. Okay. And I hate to do this on the stream because I know someone's probably going to go through and snipe us. If you want to snipe us, you can snipe us. You do you. We're going to move Samaje Perine to the very top of that list. 10 picks away. Okay, so this is... We're not going to make it here. We're not making it at this point of the draft, but just in case we do. Thank you again. I appreciate all y'all. I hope you have a great day. Let me check the chat real quick. We got 300 likes in this live stream. 300 likes in the stream. Y'all are crazy. I appreciate y'all. I hope you have a great day. And I hope we get to see you with a live stream